Good evening, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines here in the south. The game is up the moment police swooped on a Royal Marine reservist who stole guns, grenades and ammunition from a military base in Poole.
Could the army be drafted in to run buses on Southern Rail strike days? The government's efforts to keep the south on the move.
When night eventually turns to day, the winter solstice at Stonehenge celebrates the shortest day.
And the young saints in cup action tonight, but helping to cook and serve a meal to those in need. Good evening to you. He stole guns, bullets and grenades from his military base in Poole and buried them in the New Forest. Tonight, a Royal Marine reservist is starting a 14-year prison sentence.
Martin Shannon from Hythe stole the firearms and ammunition over a 4-year period. He then tried to sell a huge stockpile, unaware the National Crime Agency was already onto him.
Armed officers swooped on the 43-year-old at a supermarket near Winchester, as Mary Stanley now reports.
Armed officers lie in wait for Martin Shannon, the Royal Marines reservist suspected of possessing a deadly arsenal of weapons. Their intelligence was confirmed after he sold grenades and 1,000 rounds of ammunition to an undercover officer for £10,000 in a pub car park near Newbury. Shannon was arrested at a supermarket here on the outskirts of Winchester. It followed a covert operation by the National Crime Agency and an investigation by the Ministry of Defence into missing weapons. At the time of his arrest, he was described as a significant risk to the public.
One at a time.
We've put an awful lot of effort into this operation. We've used undercover officers, covert tactics, and it's a measure of the amount of effort we want to put in to protect the public, so it is a very pleasing result today.
And this is some of the haul uncovered by officers after his arrest. Assault rifles, sawn-off shotguns, grenades, explosives, detonators and ammunition. He'd taken the weapons from his Royal Marines base at Poole in Dorset over 4 years, burying some in the New Forest and hiding ammunition at the home he shared with his wife in Hythe. Some bullets were even found in a coffee jar.
Shannon, in this instance, had legitimate access to weapons, but then abused that position. It's very infrequent we see weapons such as this, assault rifles, on the streets of the UK. However, they do present a threat. We've seen the kind of damage that these weapons can do on the continent, so UK law enforcement, police forces, ourselves are all bearing down on this to make sure that we restrict the availabilities of weapons in the UK.
43-year-old Martin Shannon admitted 15 firearms and explosives offences at the Old Bailey and was today sentenced to 14.5 years in jail. Police said he had no links to terrorism, his motives were purely financial. He told officers he was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and thought the guns would be used by great train robber types who were after money and would not hurt people. But the judge told him whatever his motives were, once he'd handed over the guns, they were out of his control. Mary Stanley, ITV News.
In other news, more than 50 firefighters battled a blaze at a dry cleaners in Southsea this morning. The fire broke out at Impress Dry Cleaners on Albert Road shortly before 6 a.m. Witnesses reported loud bangs and parts of the road were closed for a time. The fire was under control by 9 a.m. and no one was injured.
The parents of a baby from Brighton who became the UK's youngest recipient of a double lung transplant say there are no words to express how grateful they are. Imogen Bolton was given the lungs of Theo Omondi, who died of a sudden illness at just 41 days old. Theo's parents sent a letter to the family saying every birthday Imogen celebrates is also a celebration of Theo's birth.
The moment a man stole a pensioner's car in Sussex has been captured on camera. The victim, a 72-year-old woman, had parked near Heathfield High Street when the man approached her and told her something was leaking from the bonnet. He then jumped into the driving seat and drove off.
Police are hunting for this woman after an 87-year-old man had thousands of pounds stolen from him outside a bank in Gosport. The woman and another man distracted the victim after he withdrew the money from Lloyd's Bank on South Cross Street.
The government is being urged to bring in the army to drive replacement buses during strike days on Southern Rail.
The Sussex MP Tim Lawton says more must be done to help passengers who've endured months of delayed and cancelled trains.
Meanwhile, companies across the south are counting the cost of the dispute. With the latest, here's Malcolm Shaw.
It was during the firefighters' strike 14 years ago that the armed forces manned the so-called Green Goddesses to provide emergency cover. Now the government is being urged to use soldiers to drive buses when the rail unions on Southern take industrial action. The Shoreham MP, Tim Lawton, says it's an obvious thing to do. Others fear it would just fan the flames of an already bitter dispute. Tourist attractions like Lewis Castle have seen visitor numbers tumble on strike days, costing the heritage charity Sussex Past tens of thousands of pounds.
When you start to hear proposals like using buses, at the point when the roads are even busier because of the train strike, you recognise that solutions are not really being effectively thought of. So it really needs leadership down to address this.
The cost of the dispute on Southern is now running at an estimated £11 million per day. Assurity Consulting helps other businesses with their health and safety. The Horsham-based company sends staff across the country, often by train.
They're never quite sure if the trains are actually going to turn up on time. So when we prefer to travel from our local stations. And so when we get there, we're never sure, is there going to be a train, isn't there going to be a train? So it makes it very, very difficult to be able to plan your working day.
The stress on firms and their staff is reaching breaking point. Joey Chan commutes from London to Brighton to work for this web hosting firm. But today's his last day. He's quit.
It's been a constant nightmare. On a good day, it's meant to take just under a couple of hours, but 2.5, 3 hours has become more typical. And it doesn't seem like that's going to end anytime soon.
Many commuters say the problems on Southern started well before the current dispute. A resolution seems as far off as ever. Malcolm Shaw, ITV News.
An appeal is being launched against a father from the Isle of Wight who won his case after taking his daughter out of school during term time. Earlier this year, magistrates ruled John Platt from Nettleston had no case to answer because she attended school regularly during the rest of the school year. The High Court also backed the ruling, but now an appeal will be heard at the Supreme Court next year.
Police are appealing for information after 100 Portsmouth Football Club shirts were stolen from the club's megastore. The front door of the building was broken into in the early hours of yesterday morning. The home shirts are both adult and children's sizes. A 31-year-old woman from Portsmouth has been arrested on suspicion of handling stolen goods and is currently in police custody.
More than 100 drivers have been arrested for drink and drug driving in Hampshire this month. Additional police patrols are in place and every driver involved in a collision is being breathalyzed.
A sports and social club near Fawley in Hampshire, which ran up debts of more than £160,000, has appointed a team of insolvency experts. The Waterside Club closed earlier this month, leaving sports teams without facilities and a charity pantomime without a venue. In a statement, Moore Stevens in Southampton said it was assisting the board and exploring the options available.
Brittany Ferries has announced plans to build a new ship powered by methane gas. The new ship, which will be built in Germany, is expected to launch in 2019 on the Portsmouth to Caen route, which carries around 70% of the company's passengers. Bosses say it will be one of the cleanest and most environmentally friendly ships to operate in UK waters.
Well, you're watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. We're delighted you are. Thank you, as always, for choosing us. Coming up, Andrew Pate with all the sport for you and Simon Parkin with that all-important weather forecast. Plus,
we've come all the way to Lapland in search of Father Christmas. We've got snow, we've got reindeer. Now all we need is the man himself. So what do you reckon? Do you think we can find him?
Well, for more on all of our stories, head to itv.com/Meridian. Any views or any news, you can call us. The number is 0808 1010 095, or you can get in touch via Facebook, or if you prefer it, you can always send us a tweet. The address, ITV Meridian.
Now, they're likely to be one of the most popular Christmas presents this year, but the government has today proposed new measures for drone users.
It's hoped the rules will stop potential crashes with passenger jets. Ministers want anyone who flies in a no-fly zone to be held criminally liable. In the Meridian region, we've had several near misses, including one at Southampton Airport and at Heathrow.
But of course, the gadgets can also be a useful tool in gathering news or capturing beautiful images like these of the I-360 in Brighton.
So if you do get one this year, make sure you know the rules or face a possible 5-year prison sentence. With more details is Rob Murphy.
Happy Christmas. You're getting a drone. But do you know what to do with it? Perhaps it's not a good idea to fly it in your home, particularly if people are sat there. If you are flying outside, which you should be, then watch out for high things, like lights. And skyscrapers. And low things, like animals. The skies have a fascination. Ash Hall has been flying drones for years. He reviews new models for his website and knows what he's doing and how not to crash.
Really, the first thing is safety. When you're going to fly a drone, you need to make sure you're flying it in a place that is spacious. It's not just about CAA regulation, they're critical, but it's also about common sense. So here I know that there are very few people around here during the daytime. I know that I'm going to have a spotter with me, somebody that's going to keep an eye on people and dogs, and also objects and vehicles.
Flying drones, particularly ones with cameras, can offer incredible sights. These are just some of the images we at ITV have filmed just this year. But as pilots, we have passed tests, we're licensed and carry out strict risk assessments before we fly. The Civil Aviation Authority is deeply concerned about amateur pilots this Christmas.
Don't fly above 400 feet, we say. Don't fly near airports. Don't fly near aircraft. There's also rules as well about close to people and property to make sure you don't hurt people and don't damage people. So 50 metres from people and property and 150 metres from built up areas and large amounts of people.
There are many expert and responsible drone pilots, but the air is getting more congested. Aircraft pilots have reported 56 so-called near misses this year, an increase on 2015. Will that get worse after this year's Christmas presents arrive? Robert Murphy, ITV News.
Now the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30. With all the details, here's Mary Nightingale.
A new suspect in the Berlin lorry attack. German prosecutors have identified a Tunisian man whose papers were found in the lorry's cab. The Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh delay plans to travel to Sandringham because of heavy colds. And the hand-reared baby gorilla finally living with an animal family. Do join Mark and me for that and more at 6:30.
We will, Mary. Thank you very much indeed. OK, now, food for sport and the Saints who certainly weren't sinners. Here's St Andrew.
Yeah, spreading some good cheer here because tonight Southampton's under-23 side take on their Reading counterparts in the Checkatrade Trophy at St Mary's Stadium. It's the first year Premier League and Championship sides have been allowed to take part in what used to be the Johnson's Paint Trophy. But ahead of the match, the young Saints squad helped serve a meal to those in need at the local YMCA. Sam Holder was there too.
Selco Builders Warehouse, proud sponsors of ITV Meridian Sports Report.
In a few years, these players could be the stars at St Mary's. But just down the road at the Southampton YMCA, they were showing off their speed, balance and precision. The Saints under-23 squad helping to cook and serve a Christmas lunch to those in need.
Yeah, obviously it's important that we know they're close and they're around the corner, because when we want to come and help out, we can just pop in, and I think it's important for us to give back to the community and help people out who show us support, so we want to give it back.
I live here and I was really happy when Saints were coming here because I support the club, I play for the club, and it was good to catch up with the teams and see how everyone was getting on, and plus have a good meal.
So Lisa, what's on the menu today?
So today we have soup, we have gammon or turkey with all the trimmings, and chocolate fudge cake and ice cream.
And why is it so important for the players to get involved with the community?
Well, the community is so supportive of the players and the football, so it's a really good opportunity for the players to see what we do in the community and give something back.
As well as helping serve up a great day for these Saints fans, the squad have been preparing for a big match tonight. Reading under-23s in the Checkatrade Trophy. It's the first season that non-senior teams have been allowed to take part, and they'll be hoping to give them a stuffing. Sam Holder, ITV News, Southampton.
And good luck to both of our sides. Always impartial. The winners will take on Yeovil in the last 16 kick-off tonight, 7 o'clock. Now, it will be a busy festive period for trainer Colin Tizard from Sherborne in Dorset. He's confirmed his red-hot horses, Q-Card and Thistlecrack, will be running against each other on Boxing Day for the first time in the King George VI at Kempton. And from January the 1st, horse racing has a new home here on ITV. We caught up with the presenters Ed Chamberlain and Ollie Bell at Newbury.
The narrative we've got to start with to Cheltenham is perfect. The Grand National, everyone knows about the Grand National, it's massive across the entire ITV network. The National is huge. And then it just rolls on, doesn't it? The flat quickly starts, you go Guineas, you go Derby, you go Royal Ascot, you go Glorious Goodwood, and the thing we're going to be at all of them, and I'm going to be presenting it, is quite something.
My uncle's a trainer. He won the Derby back in 2005, a long time ago now, and my father works for TalkSport amongst other things. So I kind of didn't have a choice. I was honestly rubbish at school, so it basically meant that I could sort of give my history teacher tips and gamble when I was young, and that's why I'm here. So yeah, I didn't do very well at school, but I won a few quid along the way.
Yeah, don't try that at kids' home. No, don't try that at home, kids, even. Never give warnings, who knows? OK, now Alex Thompson is likely to become the first Vendée Globe skipper to go round Cape Horn on Christmas Day. But he's 2 days behind leader Armel Leclerc, who will go round the South American landmark first to set a new record. Thompson from Gosport is a few days ahead of the chasing pack, so he'll be lonely this Christmas.
For me, from a safety point of view, I feel more isolated now than ever before. You know, he's never going to be able to come to me now, and the guys behind me are 3 or 4 days behind me. So it's a bit weird, but now is the time when I need to be the most careful and make sure nothing happens to me, because help is as far away from me as it's ever been.
So, sending Alex and everyone some Christmas cheer.
Those new false teeth are causing a few problems.
I give up.
Racing on ITV, that's good news, isn't it?
Oh,
the days of the old ITV7 and all that.
Yeah. Completely, yeah. Really looking forward to it. As you say, blast from the past, and they're going to spread the word of horse racing to everyone.
And that big race on Boxing Day, you mentioned Q-Card and Thistlecrack. I mean, you're renowned for your tips. They always go down. What's going to happen?
You always win.
They're never wrong. No, Q-Card all the way.
Thank you very much.
Fail safe, isn't it? Now, just a few days to go now, and we all know how busy Father Christmas is. So would he have time for visitors who travel to Lapland to meet him?
Well, a group of more than 50 children were taken there by the charity When You Wish Upon a Star. It grants wishes to very poorly children.
There were youngsters from right across the south, from Oxford, Reading and parts of Wiltshire. So did they track him down?
I hope so.
Here's Lauren Hall.
Despite the early start, all the children are wide awake. And it's no wonder they're so excited.
Where are you going?
Lapland.
How cool.
The trip's for children with life-threatening illnesses. More than 50 of them are going, joined by their families. Among them is Kitty, who's from Ramsbury in Wiltshire.
Well, a lot of hospital visits, a lot of treatments, not so much fun. So to come on a day like today, which is all about brilliant fun, takes our mind off everything, and it's just lovely. Are you excited, Kitty?
Yeah. A sense of excitement shared by Thea from Reading.
It's just something different, something to look forward to.
It's a really good thing because she's starting after all of the treatment to get out and about on her own now, and this is another special thing before Christmas, so yeah, it's good.
This has all been organised by the When You Wish Upon a Star charity. After boarding the plane, it wasn't long before they arrived in a winter wonderland.
Have a holly jolly Christmas, it's the best time of the year. Now, I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer.
They are very excited. Unfortunately, it's very cold today, but that doesn't matter because they're having such a wonderful time playing in the snow.
Paramedics are here to make sure nothing gets in the way of them having a good time.
It's an absolute pleasure to come here to make the day special, not just for the kids, but for the parents. It's making memories for the future, isn't it?
Oh, by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year.
Now, you may have noticed there's someone missing. We've come all the way here to see him, and look, we're clearly in the right place. We've even managed to find some of his reindeer. So where is Father Christmas? Well, I'm hoping this lot can help track him down. Has there been any sign of Father Christmas yet?
Not seen him yet.
No, not yet. No sign of him?
No.
You've been keeping an eye out for him?
Yeah.
But no sign so far?
No.
Where do you think he's hiding?
I think in his grotto.
You think he's in his grotto keeping warm?
Yeah.
With temperatures down to -25, it was time for them to head indoors too. And just look who was there to give them a warm welcome. They all got to meet him, and they each received an early Christmas present.
The whole day has been magical, but especially meeting Santa.
Daylight today is incredible, just to have a sense of fun and hope, and yeah, really important. Yeah. Hello.
Did you see Santa Claus? Did he buy you a polar bear here?
They've been here for just a day, but the children and their families have made memories that will last a lifetime. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
Smashing. Thank goodness he was there.
Exactly. The smiles say it all. Now we're staying with Christmas. Simon's here.
Yes, you remember last week we hit on the fact that a lot of people make Christmas trees out of things you wouldn't expect them to make Christmas trees from.
Yes.
Loads more people, highly creative, highly festive. Have a look at the pictures. Here is the first one. This was sent to me by Enda McBrien, who is a Reading College plumbing lecturer, and that is the copper Christmas tree made by plumbing technician Chris Naylor. You see, that's your copper pipe and all of those things that make your taps work.
You mean washers and things?
No, I don't think they were washers. I think they were junctions, but I don't have enough plumbing knowledge.
Get on with it.
Darren Terry and Bognor Regis made this one from over 200 hairstylers and hair dryers. I'm not quite sure what you do if you need your hair straightened in between now and 12th night. Frizzy Christmas for some of us. And hats off to Christine in Rustington, who showed proper dedication and commitment by drinking many litres of wine so she can make this from empty wine bottles. Hard job, someone's got to do it. Meanwhile, Mike Yates in Gosport seems to still have work to do. Well, unless those Santa hats are hiding a lack of bottle lids. Linda Davison, handmade driftwood and fallen wood Christmas tree, and that lovely. She's also in Bournemouth and done something very clever with logs to make reindeers look. And whilst we've diverted from your actual Christmas trees, Karen Jones found these snowmen in a local leisure centre made out of plastic cups.
Well.
Isn't that amazing?
Incredible.
Meridian weather at itv.com if you've made anything festive out of something you wouldn't expect to be festive.
Our viewers are quite extraordinary, aren't they?
And so clever.
Yes. Snow?
No.
No snow. What are we going to get? Let's find out.
Rain.
Here he is, Simon Parkin.
From blizzards to pool, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that after today, the days start to get a little bit longer. And when I say a little bit, I do mean a little bit. Just the 3 extra seconds to look forward to tomorrow. Mind you, it will be quite festive out, unlike tonight, which is, well, a bit damp. This band of rain pushing its way eastwards over the next few hours. Not especially heavy, but, well, fairly unpleasant conditions nonetheless. After midnight, we turn drier. We get some clear spells. We also see some mist and murk developing, and temperatures will dip down to just above freezing in some rural spots. So, could be be a bit of frost around first thing tomorrow morning, and that mist will soon lift, and actually Thursday is not going to be too bad a day. Some decent spells of sunshine. It'll stay dry, not quite as mild as today, but temperatures still up to around 8-9 degrees. Pretty good going for this point in December. Less windy than today, with winds gusting at around 15 miles an hour along the coast, so not a bad day if you're lucky enough to be outside. As for your high tide times, you can see in Southampton around 20 to 5 in the morning, just before 5 in the evening, and then Friday, well, that's a much less good day to be out and about, particularly if you're travelling up north. We've got an area of deep low pressure pushing in from the west, and that's going to bring a spell of very wet and very windy weather. For us, the winds will be strong and we'll see that rain arriving later on, but if you're travelling up to the north of the country or to Scotland, then expect some disruption. This yellow area is where we could see gusts of around 80-90 miles an hour, so tricky travelling conditions, and if you are going anywhere on Friday, then make sure you stay across the forecast for the next few days. But once that's out of the way, Saturday, Christmas Eve, looking much better, drier but fairly cloudy.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Now, thousands of people from across the world have gathered at Stonehenge to mark the winter solstice.
Indeed, pagans and druids join revellers to watch the sunrise on the shortest day, although cloud cover today did obscure the view. The ancient festival celebrates the rebirth. It's one of just 4 days when the public can get close to the stones. One group cycled 60 miles from Portsmouth to witness the event.
It's just awesome. Just get out, do something different in winter, just celebrate the solstice, have a good time.
What better way to start the Christmas holidays?
Yes.
What could be better than this? Getting out cycling with friends and strangers, and then coming to this glorious site here.
It's really a monument that was built a very long time ago, so it's quite special to be here.
This is Britain's temple. This is our most ancient site. This is where people have prayed and celebrated the turning times of the year for thousands and thousands of years.
This is my third solstice that I came to the stones, and it's just amazing to be here. It's just the energy, it's just lovely.
What can I say more than this? I feel positive and everyone is like lovely and it's nice. It's cool.
Yes, it's a mystical place. Meanwhile, this evening, up to 20,000 people are gathering in Brighton for the city's Winter Solstice Festival, known as Burning the Clocks.
A lantern parade lights up the city, and there for us live tonight is Nashri Nissa. Nash, is the weather good there tonight?
Well, it was a bit drizzly earlier on, but thankfully the rain has stopped and it's pretty clear now, which is great news for the hundreds of lanterns here you can see behind me, and the nearly 2,000 people that are gathered here. Now, to tell us a little bit more about what the event's all about is one of the organisers, Vicky Hughes. Vicky, thanks for talking to us. What's it all about?
So it's the shortest day of the year, it's the winter solstice, and we're all gathering in Brighton to celebrate the shortest day of the year. And we celebrate by making our beautiful lanterns, this year in the theme of nonsense. We're going to parade through the streets, we're going to be samba bands, there's going to be dancing, we're all going to celebrate together. And at the very end we get our lanterns and we throw them in a bonfire. So we're saying goodbye to last year and we're welcoming next year with all of our hopes and dreams for what we want to be doing next year.
And this is an annual event involving thousands. So tell us a little bit about the funding.
So we don't get as much funding as we would like. We used to get a little bit more. The only way that we can make this happen is by people that are watching, please throw £1 or £2 into the buckets. We are absolutely reliant on getting those donations in. We're also working with lots of restaurants and with partners who are supporting, and we have sponsors who are also putting in money. There's a crowdfunding campaign. Take a look at it on Facebook. So this is very much a community event. The community have made it happen. They bring it together. About 2,000 people in the parade.
A community event for the community.
For the community, and it's absolutely, it's run by the community, for the community. It doesn't matter what race, religion, creed you're from, it's welcoming everybody together to celebrate the year that we've had and look forward to next year. And we reckon there'll be about 20,000 people watching en route.
20,000 people watching and 2,000 people taking part.
Absolutely, it's going to be big.
Just to talk to now Bobby here who's taking part, tell us a little bit about your lantern.
Well, I've got the Jabberwocky on it because it's a nonsense poem, because the theme is nonsense. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we are out of time. Just to say, the parade is going to kick off in a few minutes. This is the shortest day of the year, but here in Brighton, they're making the most of the longest night.
Looks incredible. Thanks, Nashreen. And in just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale and Mark Austin.
Stacey's got Outlet News. Do join her if you can. But for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thank you very much for watching. Join us again tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.